Hey folks, welcome back to the Cotswold Collectibles YouTube channel. I am Greg Brown, president of Cotswold Collectibles. This time we brought back Chuck Chiriaco, who last time talked about M&C Toy Center World Peacekeepers, also known as, what were they called as well?
Peacekeepers, Power Team.
Power Team.
Yep.
Power Team. There we go. Power Team. So anyway, Chuck came back. He actually reached out to me and because he has a very immense collection of ultra core
yep.
from Lanard. A lot of you guys remember Lanard from the 1980s until probably now, carrying a lot of 3 3/4 inch. But the 12-inch series is a very underrated series that doesn't get a lot of attention. And what's really surprising is they did a lot of product.
They ran product for 12-inch stuff probably for almost 15 years.
Yeah.
And they even dived into it a little bit last year.
Yeah, they did. They did some basic ones, which we'll talk about. But when Chuck came to me about this, and I was like, yeah, let's go ahead and dig into this because it's a very rich history on 12-inch collecting that generally gets overlooked.
It is.
And just like the M&C Toy Center, I think we need to shine some light on it. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to you, and we'll start talking about what we have in front of us.
I appreciate this opportunity, Greg.
No problem.
Let's just talk a little bit about Lanard. So Lanard, on their website, says they were founded in 1978.
Right.
They are headquartered in Hong Kong, so they probably have a lot of foreign influences on there. But I remember you saying something they had an American headquarters in Kansas City.
The Kansas City was kind of like their hub for where like Overstock and stuff went. But I want to say that their design offices are in Oxnard, California.
Mm-hmm.
And the owner of the company, his name is Jim Hesterberg. And I want to say he was either born in Kansas or in Oklahoma, but he lives in Hong Kong. Super nice guy. We've been working with him, as many people know. We've been carrying in some of the newer core pieces, and he's been very instrumental in helping us. But yeah, it's an American-based company. But yeah, they do their production, as with most companies, are in China.
I know they started making a lot of kind of like third-party 3 3/4 G.I. Joe stuff.
Right.
A lot of interesting characters. I remember seeing a lot of. They had a lot more ethnic type characters. I remember there was a Sikh character with a turban.
The initial line was called Gung Ho.
Gung Ho.
And then Hasbro was like, we have a character called Gung Ho. You can't call it Gung Ho. So they said, okay, we'll call it the Core.
The Core.
But yeah, they had a guy called the Fox, and he looked like a World War II German officer.
Yeah, I remember him.
And then they had the guy that was like a Sikh Hindu with the turban on his head. And, you know, they had the dreadnought looking guy with the 3-bladed chainsaw.
Yeah,
it was very diverse.
Yeah, very diverse. They made a lot of interesting characters, a lot of interesting subject matter with those. And the reason I brought them up is because I feel like, you know, these figures are not, you know, identical to any of those figures, but they took a lot of names and influences from their 3 3/4 line. Here were some of the, well, first of all, Ultra Core was first introduced in 1999.
Okay.
At least that was the first series I ever saw in the United States that showed up at Family Dollar. But Family Dollar. Let me get to the names that I've seen that these things have been called on various packagings that I've ran into. They've been called Ultra Core, Ultra Adventure. I've seen them under Cool Toys packaging, Kid Connection packaging, Ultra Rescue, a packaging called Team Army, a packaging called Team Adventure. In Mexico, they were called Intrepid Heroes. In different places in the world, they were called under the packaging Tracker.
I remember those. Yeah.
Tracker. Do you remember which country those were in?
I don't know. We came across, I think there were Trackers when I went to the Kansas City warehouse. They had some 12-inch figures that was, you know, and like you're saying and like you're showing, they licensed product, or they did a third-party production for different places like Walmart and Target and dollar stores. But if you ever went to the Kansas City warehouse, Russia, Australia.
Yeah, I've seen some in Cyrillic.
The packaging is just changed over, but it's pretty much the same
figure with various accessories and different paint jobs.
Yeah.
I've seen Total Soldier, Just Kids packaging. Now, as for where to buy these things, in the United States, Power Team was primarily Big Lots, but for Ultra Core, it was primarily Kmart.
Yeah.
Kmart was all about some Lanard Ultra Core stuff. They had them in different packaging. You had your deluxe versions, you had your value versions, you had accessory sets, you had uniforms, you had vehicles. Ultra Core stuff, I will tell you right now, everything on this table is Ultra Core. Ultra Core stuff is very complicated to collect because there were so many different versions of one figure that showed up in different places in the world.
Oh yeah, and repackaging it, changing it every year.
Yeah. And we'll talk a little bit about that. Besides Kmart, I could also find Ultra Core stuff. Of course, this was the last 25 years. Dollar General, Family Dollar. They showed up at Walmart, Toys R Us, KB, a convenience store that doesn't exist anymore, Fred's. Yeah, they showed up at Fred's. They had some SeaWorld exclusives, so I imagine various Ultra Core stuff showed up at museums, airports, zoos.
Yeah, little gift shops and
stuff
like that at museums.
I don't remember seeing any Ultra Core stuff at Target. I think Target might have been too elite for Ultra Core.
Target did not like the Ultra Core.
I can't think of any other places. I mean, I'm sure they probably showed up in mom and pop type drugstores.
Yeah, probably Five and Dimes and stuff.
Five and Dimes. And then there's some other figures that we'll talk about later that I could never find in my areas, but every time I order them online, they seem to come from up north. So there might have been some northern retailers that made special deals with Lanard. They carried them. I don't know. But
I want to say that you also saw them in like J.C.Penney's and Sears Christmas catalogs.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they probably showed up on there too.
Up in there, a few of them,
probably more bigger deluxe sets like vehicles.
And
stuff like that. But this is wave one. This is wave one. These came out. Let's see. These are 1999 to about the year 2000.
Wow.
Yes. So starting over here, this guy at the very end, he's called the Jungle Beret. And for the most part, the figures that you see in these uniforms were the figures that came in these sets.
Okay.
Every once in a while, I'll see an in-package version of, like, let's say this figure, but he'll come with like this head instead.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if that was just, somebody in China just putting leftovers together or what, but every once in a while you will see another figure in another uniform in another box.
So the sets they didn't have a necessarily specific head.
They did for the most part, but every so often you see somebody else in there. I don't know if that was just them just trying to get rid of stuff. It probably was.
It's a toy company.
It's a toy company. They're just trying to make money.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's the Jungle Beret. And something I want to say about this figure here is that this figure is kind of like the mid range in terms of how geared out he is.
Right.
Some of these are more geared out than others, simply because I don't have the most geared out versions of them. It is hard because like one year this figure would come out, he'd be like this for like $8, and then you'd go to Walmart and see a more geared out version of this figure for $12, and then the next year you would see like an even more geared out version of this figure for $15 in a 2-pack with some other figure that you already have. So it's very hard to collect these and get them in geared out versions, because a lot of times you'd buy them in a decent version and then next week you'd see them at another store with better accessories.
Well, it's kind of like the thing with, like you would consider this like the basic set, and one of these other ones would be more of a deluxe set. But like if you're taking the model like what Hasbro used to do, they would have different sets. But then like if they were selling something through JCPenney, like the one, they had the Tan Desert Jeep, or the Sears had that one. But it was stuff that was already kind of out there.
It was already out there.
And they're just kind of repackaging
it. And, if you're a kid and you've got limited money, you're not going to go and rebuy a figure for better accessories.
Right.
The Scuba guy, he's pretty decked out.
Wow. Yeah, he is. He's heavy too.
That's one of the more deluxe versions. He did not come with 2 figures. The reason he has 2 rifles is because the rifle actually has 2 different paint schemes. And
I was about to say, if he came with 2 guns, that brother's loaded.
Yeah. So like maybe one year the rifle was painted like this without the orange.
Without the orange
and then
detailing.
the next year, you might find him at another store, and he might have orange on the rifle.
Right.
So there was just tiny little
subtle differences.
Subtle differences. So you might think you might have the coolest version of a figure, and then you're looking, and then you find, oh wait, this one is slightly better because he's got a rocket launcher and a backpack along with these other accessories, which again made these harder to collect, especially now because these figures weren't like something people hoard in boxes and keep protected. These were things given to kids to play with.
Well, yeah, it was a real affordable toy, and it was intended for kids to play with.
And they're very durable. They're very good toys.
But the detail is amazing. I mean, if you take a look at this guy, he's got his oxygen mask, which is kind of like the more full oxygen mask, kind of like the Abyss.
Yeah.
But then he has the little snorkel off the side, but then he still has his hoses to his air tanks.
Well, like the basic value version of the figure would come with the snorkel mask, a gun, and flippers.
Right,
but if you paid like a couple dollars more, you could get the scuba accessory.
Mm-hmm.
Or, they also had blister packs of scuba accessories and stuff that you could buy to add to the figure. Or you could just buy a uniform accessory set without the figure. They had all kinds of different variations of how to buy these figures on top of having varied parts. So maybe the uniform set would have a certain color gun, and then the box figure would have a different colored gun. So it's very complicated to collect these. Anybody.
But it makes sense though, because if you had your basic figure and you could only afford X amount of dollars, you'd get your basic figure, and then you'd start saving up your money to get the accessory part for it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I've seen that. It tracks with the different paint schemes for the different sets.
Yeah, and a lot of times, like I wouldn't have the money for a figure, but maybe I'd buy a costume to put like on a Max Steel that I got.
Right.
Just because these are very. They're 1/6 scale, but they're also very thick, large figures, so their clothes fit on many other 1/6 scale figures.
Right.
This figure, as you can see, I made him. He is the, what do they call him? Mountain Recon.
Cool.
He's one of the few figures I have that is completely decked out. He's got the things on his boots there.
Got his cleats on.
Yeah, the cleats. His backpack has both the pick and the shovel.
What's on the back?
The backpack is just like more of like a technology unit. You can open it, and there's like a computer screen on there.
That is cool. It's like a keyboard with a little monitor back there.
Yeah, it's good for play value.
Yeah, excellent. It's pretty cool though, man.
But this is one of the few actual decked out figures I have. Again, you might buy a figure thinking you got a great version of it, and then you buy a 2-pack at Walmart, and that one has the cleats attached to it.
Right. And it's the same gun. They're just doing a different color scheme, and it looks like it's the same knife, whatever that I think was on another guy.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're being smart. They're taking the same items and just giving a color variation. This is cool though.
Yeah, that's their mortar / you can also
use it's a bazooka too.
It's a bazooka as well.
Wow.
I've got the missiles in the bag.
Right. You didn't want to shoot yourself in the eye. Appreciate that, Chuck. Yeah, I remember when this came out because I thought it was super cool that the versatility of it could be a bazooka. Kind of reminds you of the one from Commando. And then you could also have it as a rocket launcher. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool design.
Well, that's one of my few decked out figures.
He is decked out. It's pretty cool.
The next one is obviously the Ninja.
Not a ninja.
Well, that is a very common figure, but it is very hard to find him with his ninja blades.
Really?
Yes. So most of the time you can only get him with guns, but I managed to stumble upon a version that actually had his sword and some of his other ninja weapons. But again, you might think you have the most decked out one, and then you go to Kmart and you see, there's the ninja with the swords.
Right. Well, it makes sense because I know that, based upon stuff that I've read, is they would go and talk to Target, and they go to, not Target, obviously they didn't like their stuff. They would go to, Walmarts and Kmart's and stuff like that, and they would say, okay, this is the basic model, and then they would say, well, I want ours to have more knives, or I want ours to have weaponry, or this and that. Can you tweak it? So they made it distinct enough to where kids might not pick up on it, but, to where the Kmart version was a little bit different than the Walmart version.
Yeah.
Which is smart marketing. But yeah, they would do that.
Yeah. Next guy here, this is the Arctic guy.
Cool.
Pretty standard figure. He's not decked out. I never got the version. He has snow cleats. There's a version here with snow cleats that I don't have.
What's kind of cool though, because he's got those really kind of snowy looking boots. So.
Yeah.
So did he come with an ice pick as well?
He did. I just never managed to get that accessory.
You got to get hopping, bro.
Yep.
Yeah, he's almost a spitting image of this guy, but it's just almost like a color variation, really. The boot's a little bit different. The hat's a little bit wonky, but I love this backpack though. There's just so much play value with that backpack.
Yeah, the backpack's cool, and there's like a way to if you take it off, you can prop it open and like let them type on it.
Really?
Yeah, you can fold these little things here.
Yeah, just the thought process behind that, how you set it up. I mean, it's the same thing for this. I mean, it's just a simple modification, and you go from a bazooka to a mortar. It's just, I mean, I got to give kudos to the design team on these.
Yeah, they really thought about how could a kid get the most play out of this?
Right, exactly.
Which, I don't see as much in toys today. This is their commando, their what do they call him? The sniper, sniper scout. This version with the suction cups on the hands and the knees for climbing walls, very hard to find that version of the figure. Most of the time, he just comes with like a gun and a vest. But I ran across a version of the figure that has the climbing accessories.
So basically he's used. He's got new looking knee pads, which is kind of cool because they almost look like they would be suction cups as well. Yeah. But he was called a sniper. What?
They called him the Sniper Scout.
Did they give the poor guy a sniper rifle?
I don't think they didn't have a sniper rifle until later in the series.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll just call him Suction Cup Man.
Yeah, Suction Cup Man.
Here we go. Yeah. Well, they're great in designing the names. Well, sorry, Jim.
Yeah. But he's cool. He's
cool, man. Play value is really cool. Suction Cup's always going to be a popular thing for kids.
So from this section on these guys, this was wave one. This was 1999. Right. Find them at different stores. Varying in different levels of accessories. Mm-hmm. These proved to be so popular that they moved on to a wave two. So this is wave two. These are, I'm not going to say they're rare, little less common to find than these. Right. These were distributed pretty much to every store in different packaging. These were not. These were harder to find, but it was a very solid second wave as well. This is the Swamp Scout. Very cool figure. When I was talking about varying levels of accessories, some of these figures would come with this little bag to put accessories in. Really? And then some of them wouldn't. Just kind of depends on the version you got. Some of these figures would come with this additional bipod, so you can turn the missile launcher into a mortar. That's kind of cool. Yeah, they had a lot of different things. Some of them would come with a missile for like explosion, and another person would come with a missile like a grappling hook. Right. And it just kind of a luck of the draw on which one you got. So in order for you to use it for a gun, it would have to be mounted that way. So you'd have to take that. That's pretty cool, though. I mean, just that one little addition. Yeah. Just changes the play value on that one. Yeah. And he was called what now? This was the Swamp Scout. Okay, Swamp Scout. Yeah, they were pretty creative on these. The camo's pretty cool. I call this like the core camo. Those two guys right there have versions of it. The thing about core camo is they use that pattern for a lot of different uniforms that didn't come on standard figures. Now that is the same pattern, but I don't know if that came with a vehicle driver or if they just had extra fabric and they just made some extra uniforms for figures overseas or what. But you can find all kinds of different types of clothing with that core camo and not see a set associated. I don't blame them. I mean, it kind of has a little bit of a woodland vibe. And then almost kind of has a duck hunter vibe to it as well. Yeah. These look a little bit more woodlandy over there, but still they're pretty distinct. Yeah, it's an interesting camo, and they used it a lot for tents too. They'd make a tent. Yeah, they made all kinds of tents. That was one of the accessories. I guess they had a really solid tent pattern at the factory, so they just want to keep.
I don't blame them. I don't blame them.
Yeah, this one's one of my favorite ones. This is the Stealth Pilot.
Wow.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. One of his biggest highlights is this cool jetpack that the more deluxe versions came with. You know, I think that's pretty cool.
So what it's like, let's see, let me pull it up here. So the nozzles, oh wow, okay, so the nozzles can adjust. Wow, that's a nice little, that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, kind of like a night infiltration figure.
Yeah, it's kind of, yeah.
And even with that, the jetpack, the figure's still pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, you take the jetpack off, he's still like a really cool looking pilot.
Very much so.
Yeah, the helmet's really cool, the jumpsuit's really cool. That's neat. That's just, like I said, I keep repeating myself, those little nuances are really cool.
Yeah, and this all came out of someone's imagination, you know. So this is their desert guy. He's pretty cool. Mostly this figure you can mostly find with shorts and short sleeved. This one's cool because it always came with like kind of a bronze colored figure. They made a lot of interesting skin colors and variations like that. But I just think it's just kind of a cool figure.
Looks like more one of the basic sets that you would have.
He is. He came like the more expensive ones would have one of those mortar bazooka things and like night vision goggles, something like that.
They definitely worked on legs that day.
Yeah. If you try to put a core figure in some of these other clothing, a lot of times it thighs are too big for the pants.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. That's cool though. The pattern just is so cool.
It is, and they did the same thing with that pattern as they did with the other ones. Is they had different variants of that uniform. Again, I don't know if this came with a vehicle or it was just extra clothing that they made in a factory, but it was cool. I found it, so I bought it. So
I mean, it's like you said, there were so many different retailers that carried the different stuff. If you you go to dollar stores. I remember when they had the 3 3/4 inch GI Joes, you would go to a dollar store and they would just have the figure without anything at all.
Yeah.
It was just a basic figure. So whatever the price range that the store was trying to go to, they would say, okay, we can put X amount of stuff into the set for that price range that you want to be at. So yeah,
which is to me is cool, you know, because you know
it's a toy.
It's a toy, and kids need to have access to them.
Mm-hmm.
This is also another standout figure. This is the astronaut. The more deluxe versions came with the cool looking backpack with the jets there that come out.
Mm-hmm.
But even the most basic astronaut came with gloves and a helmet, so you could always put the most basic astronaut, you could still play with him and act as if he was still in space.
Yeah, and the details are really, the subtle details, again, you have like the gold detailing on the boots, and then you have the gold detailing on the back, which, I mean, you just look at some of the space things, and even the pouches on the Velcro too. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so like the more deluxe versions would come with pouches for the Velcro.
Really?
Yes, and we'll talk more about the Velcro and pouches. It is very hard to find a complete deluxe version of this figure online. That one, that's kind of a standout figure in this line. People look for that one, and
an astronaut.
They pay big money for that one.
Yeah, generally astronauts are very popular, regardless who the manufacturer is.
So that one is valuable to a lot of people. This was one of the last ones they made in the second wave. This was their survival specialist. He was supposed to come with a red bandana. I have misplaced that. I don't know where it's at. But this is kind of like the missing in action Chuck Norris figure.
Yeah, I was about to say either that or First Blood.
Yeah, Rambo.
When he had that canvas. Yeah, I love it. And yeah, even the little subtle detail on the bag. It's a bag. And it says Acme Supply Depot.
Yeah.
So he just took a gear bag or whatever and just cut it up and made it into a poncho.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's creative. And they even ripped up the pants too.
Yeah, the pants, I did not do that to the figure. That's the way they came. This figure came with a tattoo as well.
I'll be darned. Yeah. Yeah, you know you're badass when you have the Ultra Core tattoo on your arm.
Yeah.
The backpack's pretty cool too.
Backpack's very nice. They use that pattern a lot. They have the core camo version of that backpack. I do not have that one. I don't know how to get that one. If it came in a camping set, a tank set, whatever. I don't have it. I wish I did. I've seen an African American version of this figure in Walmart packaging before.
Really?
Yeah.
That's just, I mean, I hate to be a broken record. Just the little subtle nuances that they add are pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now I got to see this here because he looks like he's wearing a bowl.
Yeah. So these are their Ultra Core Marauders. These were Wave 2. These were the villains that they made for this wave. These are worth a little bit of money, especially the deluxe versions. The basic versions are pretty sought after. I see those sell a lot on eBay, but the deluxe versions with the fun bad guy accessories, these are actually pretty hard to find.
So I gotta look at
his name is
Rollerblade.
Hack Luger.
Hack Luger. Sounds like he's about to spit up phlegm on you.
Yep.
So he would have. So I'm guessing that this crowbar, whatever, fit on his back.
Yes.
And then the pistol would holster right there.
Yes.
And then I love the 1990s Rollerblades.
Yes.
Man.
Yes. He's supposed to just ride by people and hit them with the crowbar.
Yeah. So. Just like Detroit.
And
I like that. I mean, the helmet kind of goofs on me, but the head is what makes it, because he has this very good expression. He's got 2 earrings on, and then he's got a man bun kicking it back school in there. Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, it looks like a bad guy from like a B-90s movie.
Oh my God, yeah.
But
Death Wish 15.
These are actually pretty sought after. And interesting thing about him was there's another version of him that has a slightly different skin tone. So you can find some of these, but maybe this guy, you might find a version of this guy in box who has a lighter skin tone.
Right.
Or, maybe a darker skin tone. So that was just kind of some of the variations that they made. I don't think it was anything intentional. It was just whatever plastic color they had at the factory.
Yeah, I mean, again, and he also has, did the other one have the highlights in his hair?
Yeah, they both got highlights.
Did they?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm so enamored with
this one.
ponytail.
This one is a little lighter skin.
That's interesting.
This guy is the other Marauder they made. His name is Crowbar. So he's got this cool crowbar hand accessory, and he's got this shotgun with a missile launcher on top of it. And he came with this cool stocking ski mask thing.
Oh, I thought that was a man pun.
No. That's that's removable. Yeah. So.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, this is when the creative guy got a little too creative.
Yeah.
But it's cool. Again, you got to that urban camouflage, like nice little jacket. And what were the bad guys called?
Marauders, which they kept that term for a long time. I think they even called a couple of the bad guys in their 3 3/4 line Marauders.
I think they did. They did in the 3 3/4 line. I like he's got the little sneer too. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. That's
cool, because I mean that's the one thing that was really missing in a lot of series is, I mean, in 12-inch particularly, was having bad guys. 3 3/4 inch and all those other guys, they generally had a pretty good amount of good bad guys.
Yeah. And he came with these cool like things you can rob type thing. This is a vault that says Ultra Core Museum, and it had all kinds of fun accessories in there, like oh
wow.
Ultra Cash, and
Ultra Box,
Ultra Gold, and some of these rare relics that you can play with other things. And of course, what's a bad guy without C4 explosive? So,
yeah.
Let me explain this guy right here. This is their even more value figure. He's got about 5 points of articulation.
Really?
Yeah, he came in like single packages in certain places in the world for like dirt cheap. And then he also came in like a 3-pack at Toys R Us, where you get like 2 of these better figures, and then you get like the bonus figure, and he'd be like the bonus figure.
Okay, so yeah, this is kind of Hasbro kind of went this direction too, with it was a molded on shirt.
Yeah,
and generally had the pants, and so yeah, he's super ultra.
But we'll talk more about how they changed kind of the dynamic of their figure. They definitely leaned on plastic a lot more later in the line.
Right,
less articulation, less detail. But this is just the start of a lot of the cool stuff that they made.
This is cool. I mean, considering, this is 1999, I mean, they were really making it. Of course, 1999, I would also say, was kind of like the reemergence of 12-inch.
Very much.
You had Hasbro was getting back in the game. Formative was still kind of lurking around there. I remember Formative was more at Kmart, so the cheapy stuff.
Yeah.
And M&C Toy Center, I was just getting into it. You had Hunter Man and all those other guys.
Astronaut.
Yeah, it was definitely a strong entry for Lanard, because up to this point, their core line was pretty much it. Now, don't get me wrong, Lanard carried a lot of toys. They carried a lot of girl toys, boy toys.
Yeah.
They carried a lot of things that was like, if you couldn't find Barbie, you could find the more affordable Lisa or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And so they were really good at that. And generally their price points were lower. When I was growing up going to Five and Dime, I was always looking for the Imperial, dragons and rhinoceroses that had the little seats on them that you could put your Master of the Universe on. Yeah. So I would have been totally all over these. So.
Yeah.
Well, cool beans. 1999, 2000. Great start on this. What are we going to be talking about in the next video?
Next video, we'll talk about how they moved from kind of their fantasy military series to more search and rescue type stuff, and then they tried to go a little more realistic with their figures after that.
Okay. All right, folks. Well, thank you for tuning in to this video. This is one of many we're going to be doing with Chuck, and make sure that you tune in next week on part 2 of the series. Until then, keep collecting.